quit it for 6 months. The first 4 months were miserable. And then the month 5 and 6 were fine. And then I was like, okay, I hit my goal. And then I had a cup of coffee and I'm like, this shit's too good.
This is amazing. I'm never not going back to this.
Yeah, I'm not going to go back to 5 to 6 cups per day, but like 2 to 3, like I think I'm good.
What was it like quitting coffee cold turkey? Because I remember you took the pills and that didn't help. What was it like 2 weeks of just death, right?
I forgot about weed and caffeine. That gave me the worst freaking headache ever. The first 2 weeks were miserable. The next 2 weeks were terrible. The 2 weeks after that were horrendous. Like it was 3 months of just burnout. Cause I hired a health coach for I spent $15,000 on a health coach for 90 days. And so stupid. I just dove into it and she's like, you have adrenal fatigue. And I'm like, what's adrenal fatigue? And she's like, just do this. Like, don't drink caffeine. Here are 2 billion supplements. Just take those. Those will repair your adrenals. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I was just miserable for like 3 months. And then it was really cool. I went to a Buddhist monastery and then I kicked out of it. Like I got very like clear, zoned in. I created like my vision for my business and like my purpose for my business at the Buddhist monastery.
Yeah.
So like it served its purpose, but then like I got way more shit done when I started drinking coffee.
For the record, by the way, when people see me drinking from my butt mug, right? It's not all coffee. It's like this much coffee and then that much hot water. So like I also have been trying to quit, but it's just not working the way I expected.
You've been trying to quit for like 2 years.
I've been trying to quit my whole life. Okay. Like I was just born with coffee, I think. Either way, though, we should probably get this interview started. You and I originally, I'm not doing the dabs. Okay. Like everybody else that's watching right now is dabbing with me. And everybody else is saying, are you complete? Okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm not that San Diego yet. Okay. Like just baby steps. Okay.
I love all the phrases out here. It's so awesome.
It's so weird.
Do I need to hold space for you while you talk?
I need to know if the crystals are aligned with your aura. Oh my God. I can't believe that was a fucking conversation. Either way though. Okay, look. So I remember how I originally got connected with you and like our first conversation because you had started your Facebook group and you interviewed a guy named Jordan Parker. Yeah. And Jordan Parker was in Dan Henry's group and we were coming up around the same time. But Jordan Parker had the weirdest story. Like he was getting like he just had a kid and his car was towed and Dan Henry's course like helped him like not be poor. And he's just posting results after results after results. I was like, how is he doing this? And then you interviewed him. And I was like, you are letting me into your group, Andrew. One, I'm typing 1. I typed it a million times, let me in. And then that's how you got me, right? And like the interview was super cool. I got to see how he worked. And the guy's doing an F ton of money now. But ever since then, like we've kept in touch. You've come by the office. I've gone to your events, and it's been really, really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know it was Jordan Parker that kicked it off.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I don't know if too many people here know about Jordan Parker, but like he simplifies shit down. He's just like, just use my personal profile to get a bunch of chiropractor leads and then I close them.
Yeah. Like, but aren't you like split testing different posts? No, I just post stuff and then they give me money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuck. And I remember we were at AdCon 1 or AdCon 2 and Aubrey was there and she's talking about how she's using like phytones and different levels of whatever. And Jordan Parker's like, wait, I get to eat bacon and get and that's when I think you and I realized how important communicating like a clear message makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But before we go into that and before we go into systems and process and all that, I was hoping you could talk about how you first got started with like actually running Facebook ads as an agency and the burnout that naturally happens, the transition, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we go way back, it started with me quitting my job in Chicago, just hating my job, watching a Tai Lopez webinar and buying his SMMA. Sucked. And then buying Dan Henry's program and being inspired and being like, oh, I can legitimately do this. I get the step-by-step process. And I quit my job. I moved into my parents' basement from Chicago to Cleveland, which sucks. And then Cleveland sucks. I grew up there 23 years, but it sucks. And then I quit drinking. That made a massive shift in like my mental clarity and just everything. And I started my advertising agency. Yep. My first client came through a referral. A friend who her dad owned a coffee shop, and he was like, "Oh, I need your help. How much do you want me to pay you?" And I'm like, $1,000. And he was like, "Oh, I would have paid you 2,000, but okay."
You're like, "Oh, yes, no, but yes, this is
right.
How am I supposed to feel? I'm happy, but I'm also sad."
Yeah. Oh shit, I need to raise my prices when I haven't even run a Facebook ad, right?
Yep.
So that's how I started out. And that's where I learned the power of referrals, where it's so much easier to close a deal if it's through a referral. And then ups and downs for like 3 months. But between month 3 and month 4, we got to our first 10K month. Right. And by we, I mean just me and hustle and driving to gyms and driving to chiropractors and talking to them in person. Yep. Little thing that I used to do with gyms is I would go in for a free trial. And then when they started selling me on their gym, I would flip it and be like, "Oh, I run an advertising agency.
Do you guys need help with your ads? Because nobody else is in here. It's empty." Yeah.
Great fucking trick that worked, because like they would start selling me on their gym and they wouldn't want to lose that sale. And I would just be like, "Yeah, I run Facebook ads for gyms." And they're like, "Oh, we really need that." And they get really enthusiastic about it because they're still trying to sell me on the gym.
Perfect.
And I landed about 4 to 5 clients that way.
Does that mean you were part of like 3 separate gyms? Like,
yeah. Then
right?
they 3 of them ended up giving me like a free pass. Like they just let me go there, which was awesome. But yeah, did that. Then got to the point where it was just me. I didn't know how to grow a team. I didn't know what the fuck a VA was. Like I was just hustling, grinding, talking to people, and then putting up Facebook ads that weren't that great, but were generating leads because we put a good offer out in front of everybody on Facebook. And then I got to the point where I opened up a Facebook group and started teaching people how I was going door to door and all of that stuff, and got a following. And then people were asking, "Hey, do you have a course? Do you have a coaching program? Do you have mentorship? How can I learn from you?" And I'm like, "Cool, I'll launch a beta program." I did that, made 1 post and made $8,000. Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, Facebook groups are powerful.
This is exciting.
I can make 1 post and make $8,000 in 1 day." Yep. Yes, please. So I continued running my agency. I scaled back on my clients. I kept teaching agency for about 6 months. I had this course called Stupid Simple Client Acquisition that generated massive results because I dumbed it down. It was just like, say this, like do this, make it more intimate, stop trying to automate everything, just talk to real life people, right? Yep. And that generated results, which is great. And then I was really good with messenger bots. So I created a messenger bots course. Yep. And 4 months after creating my Facebook group, I had a $62,000 month.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I was making like burning myself out doing 10 to 15K per month with my agency. Yep. And then I'm doing 62K months with this. Like, wow, that's amazing. And then I scaled back on my agency and I didn't feel in integrity to sell agency programs anymore. So I'm like, okay, I got to figure out a different route. Yep. But what I'm good at is growing communities like Facebook groups and creating courses, coaching programs, mentorship programs, those sorts of things. Yeah. So that's where I've shifted my business. And now it's Tribe of Buyers. And we focus on helping people grow communities and also creating online training programs and education programs that scale. So
I was going to say, if I'm understanding correctly, there's like this hidden valley that happens between the 10 and 20K a month, which is just pure and adulterated burnout. Like there isn't a system, there isn't a process. It's just hustle and grind, do what Gary Vee says. And Ty Lopez says it's amazing. If Dan Henry can do it, you can do it. But they don't talk about how like you can go from 0 to 10K, but 10 to 20K is an entirely different arena.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're doing what you did, which is like you're driving to 10 different clients. You've got 5 different memberships. You're like throwing stuff all around. And you know what happens when you have spinning plates? They just all fall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for you, that was really like a turning point, if I'm understanding correctly, like realizing that there's this huge gap where like people just aren't approaching their lives or their businesses in a system-driven format. Is that about right?
Yeah, that 10 to 20K mark, 10 to 25K mark will burn you out if you don't have a team around you.
Yes.
If you don't have somebody focused on just delivery or somebody just focused on sales, you will burn out and break down. Or like the route that I went is I just hired an executive assistant and I created a more scalable business model with courses, coaching programs, that sort of stuff, where I was able to get to 40 to 50K with just me and an executive assistant, which is insane, like so much profit. But what happened was I was stuck at 40 to 50K per month, like peaks at 60. But I was stuck there until I started growing out my team further and hiring a sales guy, hiring an ops manager. And now we're consistently over $1 million run rate every single month, all organically, no ad spend. And when you hit that 40 to 50K month, like by yourself or just with one team member, you're not going to be able to scale without systems, team, operations, all of that stuff.
So there's always this kind of uncanny valley. And whether it's you're doing the work or selling a program or a product, there's going to be this like peak of you as a person, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe it's agency, maybe it's 10 and 20K, and maybe it's selling a program, maybe it's 40, 50K. But no matter what, you're going to hit this like exhaustion point.
Plateau.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to plateau, you're going to freak out. And then if you don't surround yourself with the right people, I think this is what you're hinting at, you're just going to say, F it, I'm out. And I don't mean this as fun. Go to a Buddhist monastery and then just check out for 3 weeks, right? Yeah. But that's exactly what you did. It's like absolutely fantastic. So before we go into like how to build programs and how to think about that so you don't get burnt out, can we talk about the 3 steps you took to turning your Facebook profile and group into a money-making machine? Because for everybody watching this, that is like the natural next step. And they kind of feel the power of it by selling agency, because what happens is your client looks at your Facebook profile, right? They need to see stuff that confirms and converts. Yeah. But you really took it to a whole nother level. So can you talk about that for a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So if people want a visual, you can go to my profile, just like right click it and open up a new tab and look at my profile and you can follow along. But the most important elements is number 1, your banner. And I'm pretty sure you teach this, Jeff. And what's awesome about our banners is it asks a question. Ask a question that your ideal client really wants, because what questions do is activate our brains. So we want somebody that hits our profile for their brain to be activated immediately and for them to say yes, 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 all along the journey. So Jeff, yours is like, do you want extra?
What could you do with 30 customer opportunities a month?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I want that.
Yep.
Mine's, do you want to learn how to build a lean 7-figure business organically without wasting your time, energy, and money on complicated funnels and ads?
Yep.
So boom, do you you could expand on that too, where without blank, blank, and blank, right? Then it goes to your bio. Make sure your bio is just something that is very tangible, specific, or it makes somebody ask questions. Like, that sounds awesome. What the fuck is that? I need to learn more about that. So mine is helping entrepreneurs build their tribe of buyers so their customers can find their tribe and purpose. Yeah. Like, just get their brain to be activated and be like, oh, fuck, I want that, right? And then you have the featured photo that points down to a link. If you don't have a Facebook group, you can send them to a scheduler link. That's perfectly fine. And then last but not least, your profile picture, make it of your face.
Yeah.
Face in there. It's super important.
There's a guy in my inner circle and like he's trying to do solar, right? So what he did is he tried to outsmart the system. And guys, like if you're trying to outsmart this, don't. We're marketers, we're not PhDs. Just do what works. This is IKEA level instructions. So he put a solar panel for his Facebook profile. All of a sudden, he's not getting any questions or results, no follow-up, nothing. It's like, hey, what if you put your face again? He's like, oh, I should do that. And all of a sudden he starts getting PMs again. I'm like, guys, just have a picture of your face. Just have a picture of your face. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing that goes for like your business page. You're going to get better results if it's a person and it's your face. right? It's because people are on Facebook, they're scrolling on Facebook, they want it to fit in with their news feed. They don't want to be sold by a business. They want to be talking to a person.
Yep.
So what I suggest is get on stage. Like any way you can, go to Toastmasters, go to any other way that you can get in front of an audience. Have your girlfriend or boyfriend snap a picture of you there and then put that up as your personal profile. Like,
is that why we did the event in Miami?
Kind of.
I think so, right? Yeah.
That was all staged, but we did sell tickets to that. So that was
liked it. Like I was genuinely happy with like the 50 people that showed up. They all effing loved it. You were on stage, I was on stage, Arnie, Steph, and we still use those photos. That's like a year and a half ago now. So yeah.
It looked super professional too. So that was awesome.
So if I'm understanding correctly, it's the cover photo, right? And your cover photo should ask a question. So like, don't say like, get 100 leads tomorrow. That doesn't trigger parts of the brain, right? Yeah. You should be asking questions. What could you do with 100 leads tomorrow? Right?
Makes people think, yeah.
That's what it is. And then you want to make sure, what is it, like the title or the tag or something like that? The tagline that's underneath your profile photo, right?
The bio, yeah.
The bio and your profile photo. But I think something that we keep forgetting is that you got to make sure your sales page, which is your, I guess you could say your personal profile, lines up with what you're talking about. And every single person watching this has either been on the advantageous side of this or been losing out. Because when I'm thinking about buying from a person, I used to ask my friends. Now I just go on Facebook and I look them up on Facebook. And if I don't see something that confirms my suspicions that I should spend money with them, I don't. It's easier to not make a bad decision than it is to make a good decision. And so everyone here needs to be following those 3 steps and make sure you're posting stuff that confirms that they should be taking a next step with you. Screenshots, testimonials, proof, trainings, results, all that stuff. Yeah,
exactly. And what you just said there, testimonials, results, post those up with no call to action. The reason for that is because if you have a call to action, less people will engage with it. We're trying to maximize the engagement on those posts so it reaches the maximum amount of people. So results, testimonials, and then every once in a while you can throw in, hey, who wants to sign up for a call with me?
Correct.
Comment down below, right?
And what's interesting is like a lot of my students have been doing that and they're following the same exact processes that you're mentioning that I ultimately learned from, like you and Arnie, right? And they end up posting something like who could use 10 to 15 new med spa appointments every single month. They'll get 5 to 10 like calls immediately. And those are all med spa owners that were following them, their content and their results, and then took a next step when they wanted to, which is like super interesting. But that was your Facebook ads agency journey. Realize that there's a natural limit, right? And their only way to get through that limit is to hiring a team, finding a mentor, creating programs so good that people want to pay you money. And I will say this unequivocally, my blind spot, because you'll notice in my office, all these people that are working for me, it's really just me, right? It is fundamentally just me. And only in the past 3 weeks have I taken like the serious step about paying someone to be my number 2. And so I was hoping if you could provide context to people watching this, thoughts, feelings, ideas, where you were before, during, after, about ultimately hiring people.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah. So the only way you're going to be able to scale to $1 million to 8 figures is through a team and hiring A players on your team. Just focus on A players that provide you the biggest return on investment. The way you're going to attract A players for your team is through your vision and values. So ultimately, what do you want to create in 10 to 25 years? What do you want to create in 3 to 5 years? What do you want to create in 1 year? If you can nail those down, you will attract top quality content if they align with your vision. And your purpose. Have a purpose for your business, for your agency. So for us, for Tribe of Buyers, our purpose is human connection. It's very simple. So I remember when I first quit my job and I moved back into my parents' basement, I was first starting my advertising agency. I lost all social circles. Like I was lonely as fuck. I was in my basement just wondering where the hell are my friends? And it wasn't until I started interacting in Facebook groups where people were on the same mission as me, growing their advertising agency, where I was able to find that connection. where I was able to find other people that were on the same path I was, like Jeff Miller, meeting Jeff Miller in Dan Henry's Facebook group, right? And that's what I want to bring to the world. That connection first in communities like Facebook groups, help people grow Facebook groups, and then at live events, deepen those connection with people. Yeah. And we're hosting a 200-person live event in October, the 18th through the 20th, Tribe of Buyers Live. Yep. And that's the next evolution of my business, to form those deep connections and get people huge results at my event, so they can grow together and find their purpose and path, right? So having that compelling vision for your business, and it kind of came to me at the Buddhist monastery, like you need to kind of like let it bake. It's not going to happen overnight. But that's what has brought like you into Authority Accelerator.
Correct.
And
yeah.
Avery Ford, who is my right-hand man, that is my ops manager and does all the delivery. Like he came into my business. He's a fucking A player. And Grant Elertson, he's an A player. And they were just compelled by that vision. So having that.
So I was going to say, is that why companies like Apple and Google and Tesla, they're always telling everybody their vision and their mission, their purpose is to attract people on that journey too, right?
Yeah. People don't care what you do. They care why you do it, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. The closer, it's a Simon Sinek quote, but the closer you can get to that, that's when you ultimately become a business owner. Mm-hmm. Like it's awesome to learn Facebook ads, definitely sales and marketing. Like those are all awesome freaking things to learn, especially if you're not at the 6-figure mark yet. But if you want to scale to 7 figures and you want to scale to 8 figures, it comes through the vision, the values, the systems you set up, hiring your team. Like you've got to start removing yourself from those button pressing activities, those things, and hire out for that. And you just need to become the leader for your business, the visionary or the integrator that is able to take people from a place where they're just super motivated to help you build that vision.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately what's going to help you scale and create that big business. Right?
So what about somebody who's just starting out their agency journey or their business journey, right? And they're still in the 0 to 10K, maybe 20K. They're hitting that valley, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is it then when they try to establish their vision, their mission, their purpose, is there a good time to do it? What should that look like? How should they be thinking about how to create their vision, mission, and purpose?
Yeah. So some frameworks. So from 0 to $250,000 a year, that you should be focused on promotion. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is 80% of your time should be devoted to marketing and sales. Mm-hmm. Build out some systems, some operations along the way, get your delivery and your program down, your product down, your service down. But 80% of your time should be focused on marketing and sales until you hit that mark. That way you'll have cash flow to ultimately hire an A player.
Yeah.
So then after the $250,000, then you want to focus on systems, operations, really nailing down your program service, building out other programs and services, that sort of stuff. So it's that $250,000 a year marker. So 20K per month.
Yeah.
Is really where you want to focus the majority of your time on sales and promotion. And during that time, you can hire a sales guy if that's your bottleneck or something like that. Whatever your bottleneck, you can have 1 to 2 people on your team. Mm-hmm. But after that, it's just all about nailing down the systems, operations, and leadership.
Gotcha. I remember we were at the Authority Accelerator in San Diego, not the most recent one, but the one before. Mm-hmm. And you had us go through an exercise that talks about how to create your business's why. Is that correct? Is that what we did?
Yeah.
And you used analogies like Disney and IKEA and Apple and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that was really interesting. Can you give us a quick rundown of how that works and things like that?
Yeah. So you're talking about finding your business's purpose. And you start with a 5 whys exercise.
Correct. Yeah.
What do I do? Why do I do that? Why do I do that? Why do I do that? And when you get to it's to change the world, you take 1 step back.
Interesting.
So just keep asking yourself, why? Let it bake. It's not going to happen overnight. Put it on a Google Doc and put it down, write it down somewhere.
Yeah.
And let it bake. But once you find that purpose, that one word or two words for your business, why you're doing what you're doing, whew, it creates a stump speech like I just gave you 5 minutes ago, which is human connection, stump speech. I was in my parents' basement. I connected with people in Facebook groups, all of that. That's where your vision comes from. Like, this is the most powerful shit. This is the shit that like helps you scale to 7 figures and beyond. So start it now. I wish I started earlier. I'm happy where I'm at now, but the earlier you start this, the longer you can let it bake, and the better it will be, right?
Gotcha. So you go through the 5 whys exercise, get to change the world, come back a step, and that helps power your mission and your vision and your purpose. Yes. And that then helps attract people that want to help you build towards that. Is that the right way to think about it?
You attract A players for your employees. It helps you attract more customers. It helps with your messaging in your marketing big time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool.
I was just working with one client, and he's an advertising agency owner too. And his big why is he wants to be the last marketing agency that his clients hire. I'm like, that's fucking great. And like his whole story around it is just like, he's been in the industry for so long. He's seen so many clients get screwed over. He's a big proponent of small business and mid-sized business. And like, that is way more compelling than let me run Facebook ads for you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I know that this didn't just magically pop into your head, right? You've put a lot of time, effort, and energy into finding people that can help you do that, right?
Yeah.
So like you've paid for mentorship. How does that work? How does that look? Like, do you send a PM? It's like, hey, can I work for you? Is it an apprenticeship? Like, is there a program? Like, how do you find someone that can help you understand where you need to be and how to get there, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Mentorship played a big role. But it started with like realizing that I want more out of my life, mm-hmm. and kind of having that vision of what I want out of my life, and having a vision of I want to live on the beach. I am right now. I'm looking out onto the ocean. Yeah. And that's what drove me to find the puzzle pieces to make that possible. Mm-hmm. Right. So for mentors, one mentor I found when I was just like, hey, I really resonate with this guy. What do you know about him? And then his sales guy reached out to me, and then I ended up signing up with him. Another one, I went to a live event and really fucking resonated with him, Alex Moscow. And he's helped me create high ticket programs. And I was like, yes, this is perfect. So it's like putting it out there, and then having the conversation with that person. And then if it's a heart fuck yes, I go with it. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've invested in a lot of programs that I felt like kind of fucked over. It wasn't what I expected. And I promised myself I would never do that inside of my programs. They're going to be built out. They're going to be fucking awesome. I'm never going to make somebody feel fucked over, because I had that experience, but I'm so glad that I invested into it, because the big thing is just fucking taking action.
Yeah.
And never feeling like a victim. Like, yes, I felt fucked over. That was my initial visceral response. But I was so fucking proud of myself for investing, because I invested in myself. And when you invest, you expand. You're like, okay, I'm burning the boats. Let's do this, right? So it's more of like who you are, what you want, and putting that out there, and the puzzle pieces will fall into place.
Interesting. So you didn't go out and like fill out 10, 15 like mentoring program forms and then take sales calls. It was more like, this is where I am. Does anybody in my network know where I should take a next step? And then you just took it from there, right?
Yeah, exactly. And talking to people, hey, how was his program? How's her program?
Interesting. Yeah. I think that's been like a common theme between the two of us. Like both of us have been like uncomfortably screwed over with like our experiences, but we're like, all right, at least I went to that gym. I know I'm never going back. Right. Like,
yeah.
I'm glad I went, but thank you very much. Right. And I think that's like, sorry, go on.
I just think it's a huge blessing, because we saw what not to do. Like sometimes seeing what to do is just as good as seeing what not to do.
I know that I treat people inside of my course and coaching program purposefully better than the way I was treated in my course and coaching program. And that's just like me trying to make the world right, but more importantly, pay it forward correctly and do what I feel is correct. And I think you treat it the same way in your program. So like, maybe it's good that we joined bad mentoring programs, right?
Like, it is, dude. It showed us what not to do. And I put a policy in place that every customer is going to be answered within 48 hours. And like, I wouldn't have put that in place if I hadn't been screwed over and I hadn't been waiting a freaking week for an answer from a mentor. So
yeah, that's so interesting. So you realized where you wanted to be in your business, right? And you figure out your why and all that. And mentorship helped you get there, right? But I think as importantly is like something called a program. And you mentioned this, the 3 Ps all the time: your promise, your process, and your...
You can get it. You got it.
Okay. All right. It's the process, it's the promise, and it's the... I don't ever remember. Okay, hold on. The promise, this is where you're going to go.
No, start at the beginning. When you're starting, it's just like a sales call, dude.
Okay.
Like when you're starting a sales call, what do you want to uncover? Well,
problem, promise, and process. Cool. This is your problem. This is where I promise you'll get. These are the steps. And okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just never heard the 3 Ps, but yeah. And so I remember reading a book, and it was oh fuck, I totally forget the guy's name, but it was like the first one that made me realize that you need to have like a program. Like you need to make it so clear, and it's called story brand. That's what it is. Like you got to make it so clear the steps you're going to take somebody on, and they'll be much more comfortable with you. And that's called the process, right? And I've got the wallet out campaign. I turn my camera around. I show them the 7 steps, and they're like, "Great, I'm going to pay you $3,000 a month." When they would not have paid somebody $500 a month, and they have much more confidence. Mm-hmm. You talk about creating programs as well, right? And can you help me understand like the steps you go through to help someone create a program that they can help deliver a result? What do your programs look like? Like, how does that work with you and Tribe of Buyers?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's run. This is the same process for a service, for a product, whatever it is. And like we were talking about, it starts with the 3 Ps. Hey, what's my ideal client's problem? What is the promise? Ultimately, where do they want to go in a specific time frame? 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 90 days, a year, what have you. And then what's the process? What is the gap that links the bridge between the problem and the promise, ultimately where they want to go, right? What are those 3 to 5 steps to get them from the problem to the promise? And the way that you want to construct it is by first interviewing or surveying, or both, your ideal clients. Your ideal clients are people that have already paid you money. If you're creating a program where you haven't been paid money from your ideal clients yet, go survey at least 7 people, get on a call with 7 people that may be your ideal clients. Gotcha. Because compelling copy is not created, it's constructed.
Yep.
You're not using your own words, you're using the words from your audience or your ideal client and what they actually want.
Yep.
So what you want to do is just really nail down your ideal client's problem, where they want to go, and then make the 5-step bridge, the 3 to 7 step really bridge that links the problem to the promise. Start there, and you will be able to create like any program that you want, and you'll make your messaging so much more compelling.
So you just got to talk to, let's just say like 5 to 10 people that you may want to sell a program to or get them the result, right? So like, let's say I was doing a weight loss program, right? And it's specifically for men in their 30s about to testosterone drop, which is me, right? Like I know it's coming. That's why I'm going to the gym every day, right? It's going to happen, right? I'm 35 in May.
I don't know everybody thinks you're in your 20s.
I'm 35, okay?
You're not 35, Jeff, you're 34.
I'm just accepting my life as
rounding
up. Okay, so let's just say it's like I'm trying to build a weight loss program, and I'm just seeing if it's going to work. And my ideal client is a man in their 30s, right? Mid 30s, and has a full-time job and just wants to lose 10 pounds. I should be talking to 10 to 15 of those people and figure out how they talk, how they describe their problems. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then I can ask them, where do you want to go?
Yeah, exactly. And Ninja Hacks, record it, Zoom or in person. Download an app called otter.ia where it will record everything that you and they say, and it's super accurate. And then you can go back to that recording and listen to it, and it will highlight each word step by step. So you can pull out the words that they're using, and you can see the overlap between what everybody is saying, your ideal clients.
Gotcha.
So ninja hack right there. Ninja hack number 2 is always survey your clients after they buy. The people who buy from you are going to give you the best tribal language that your ideal client will resonate with. So you should have a survey that's automated in your process, whether that's through an email sequence after people sign up, what have you, but a survey going over questions that pull out why they signed up, what their pain points currently are, and ultimately what they want. So what would make this investment a huge success? Ultimately, why did you sign up for the program? So on and so forth, but really focus on those questions that pull out their pains and ultimately what they want.
Interesting. So, hey, pay me money. Great. Let's talk. I've established their problem. And can I just ask somebody what they want, like their promise? Like, you want to lose 15 pounds and like all of a sudden that becomes a promise, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really not that hard, right? You just ask them.
Right? Yeah. You want to do this in this amount of time frame. Right? That's really what the promise is. Gotcha. So very specific. You want to do this in this amount of time. Make it tangible.
15 pounds in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. But how do we figure out those 3 to 5 steps? Is there a thought process behind it? Is it like, I mean, all my steps are always customer research, right? I just do that, right? And then there's ad, and like all my programs are like that. But is there a thought process behind creating those 3 to 5 steps, or is that where your better judgment comes in and you need to have contextual conversations and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it's going to come in versions. Like, don't feel like you're stuck with that step-by-step process forever. Just have one right off the bat and do it to the best of your abilities. Go back to your story. If you've been able to produce that result, if you've been able to lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks, think back to, okay, what did I do? Or if you're currently working with clients and you're trying to figure out that step-by-step process, just go back to your most successful clients and say, what did I ultimately do step by step by step? So, so for a lot of programs, they start with mindset because we need to fix that mindset before we can ultimately implement, right? Sometimes it's like we need to make that transformation first. Sometimes it's we need to produce a huge result right off the bat. So like for my group growth and monetization blueprint program, we show you how to launch a beta program in your first 30 days to profit over 10K, right? I'll give you the step-by-step process for that. So that's a big win right off the bat.
Interesting. So the 3 to 5 steps is really not as complicated as you expect. You just got to write something down, and it's probably what your best client has done, just in easier boxes to understand, right? And I want to see how, like guys, this makes like complete and total sense only after you've done it and written it down. If you haven't written it down, you can't just write it down. Just write down the 5 steps, ask them if you'd like. But the end result is like the only reason I have custom research as my first step is because I didn't have it in the beginning. I ran an ad, it bombed, and then I read the book, Ryan Levesque, The Ask Method. I said, oh, I should do this. Then that became my first step. So like it's this very like learning driven process. But after like 5 or 6 toothbrush moments, you have something written down that works for 95% of your people. And now you've got your ideal client. You've got how you're going to get them their ideal result and the promise in a time frame. Is that about right?
Yeah. And that's how you scale.
Interesting.
That's your offer. If you want to expand on this one step further, because like we're giving you a shit ton, but you can always expand on this. Just because I've been doing this for so long. But if you want to ask yourself, what is the problem that my ideal client is experiencing in this step? What's the transformation they're going to get at the end of this step? And why is this step at this point in the step-by-step process? If you ask those 3 questions, you'll be able to line your step-by-step process up a lot. It's going to be a lot smoother and a lot more clear why you're doing it in that manner to your clients.
So here's what I think is really interesting. So everybody talks about niching and focusing on certain clients that you want to serve and stuff like that. And I believe it makes total sense. But if I'm taking what you're saying and applying to that idea, could I have 3 to 5 different programs depending upon the client that I want to get and what I want to serve? Or is it really better in the beginning to focus on one program and really nail that down?
Yes. So start with one program, one core program.
Yeah.
For me, I have what's called the maximization model. I believe it's the most scalable model in the online education and training industry, where we start with a beta program, which is your one program for online education, minimal viable, and get those work hand in hand with a group of clients and get them massive results.
Mm-hmm.
Out of that, you create your course. You're creating videos along the way, and your course comes out of that, which naturally moves into a 90-day to 120-day accelerator coaching program, mm-hmm. where people are in a tight time frame to produce a result. That moves into a year-long, 6 months, 9 months, or a year-long mentorship and mastermind program that creates monthly reoccurring revenue without giving you a freaking headache.
Yeah.
So it's the most impactful model in the course and coaching industry for your clients, and also the most scalable model. And I don't see anybody else teaching it out there. And that's one thing that we're going over at Tribe Buyers Live. But yes, focus on one program first. Gotcha. It's not going to happen overnight, but you want to go step by step by step. And throughout that process, you want to, in your first program, solve a problem, which creates new problems. In the next program, solve that problem, which creates new problems, and solve those problems. Right?
So if I wanted, again, going back to like the weight loss example. So if my ideal client, a guy in mid-30s, looking to lose 15 pounds, we're going to lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks, right? And then my next program is really going to talk about how to keep the weight off and look like the guy you've always wanted to become. And then the next year program is something along those lines. Like, you're always going to have another problem. And it's up to you as the provider to understand that and provide a solution along that journey. Is that about right?
Yeah, exactly. So your first program could be, hey, lose 15 pounds in 6 weeks. The next program could be, hey, this is how you sustain it over a long period of time. And you're in a community of people that are trying to do the same thing to hold you accountable. Holy shit, that's amazing. And then the year-long program could be, hey, work intimately with me to get that confidence back, right? Yeah. Because they might be at a point where they have been so insecure with all this extra body weight that they need a long period of time to get their mental right? Yeah. So it's just solving a problem all along the way. And when you solve a problem, a new vision is created for your client, and then you can get them to their next vision.
You know what I like about this the most is that every Facebook ads agency has gone through the same journey you're going through. Like Alex Hormozy, like he started off like doing Facebook ads for gyms, right? And he got some results, got some work, and then discovered the next problem is like they don't know how to sell high expensive ticket programs, or keep trying to push like $50 a month. They got to have $5,000 tickets, right? And then he has the next tier program. And because of it, he has turned his Facebook ads agency focusing on gyms into like a $10 million a year business. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts, he's gone through the same exact exercise you just mentioned, which is the problem, the process, and then the promise. And he just keeps doing that 3 or 4. I got it right the first time, right? Yeah. But I think the cool part is that you've gone on your journey long enough. Now you're doing a first in-person event where you're inviting like hundreds of people to come and do this for real. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that's the next evolution of our business. So we've done smaller events, 15 to 20 people, masterminds, where we've had people come in, make tens of thousands of dollars at the actual mastermind. Yep. Because the way that we construct it is it's like no other event. We focus on transformation, getting you connected to your vision, what you ultimately want to create. Then strategy and information, day number 2, giving you those tools that you need to actually implement to see like, oh, this is the step-by-step process to get to my vision. Mm-hmm. And then day 3 is implementation, actually putting the messaging into place, the sales into place to be like, holy shit, this actually works. So we've had Rob Quinn come in and do $37,000 the week after, when he came in and wasn't doing too well the week before. We've had Jimmy come in and do $25,000 the week after. We've had Abby Walla come in where she didn't have a program, she didn't have a Facebook group, and then she did a $5,000 beta launch the week after. So this structure freaking works. And now we're doing it in with a bigger audience. And I brought in all my team to facilitate it. And it's October 18th through the 20th in freaking San Diego, which I absolutely love. And
I remember the thread, by the way. You're like, guys, Miami or San Diego. I was like, please don't do it in San Diego. I don't want to take another cross-country flight. And so now I'm taking another cross-country flight. Yeah. So
I'm flying you out here. So so Jeff's going to be speaking on stage there over the Facebook group engine, like what content to post in your Facebook group every single day to maximize engagement. And then we have Brad Newman speaking on stage about messenger sales, where you can post all this great all this great content on your personal profile or Facebook group, but if you don't know how to close in Messenger or get them to a sales call in Messenger, doesn't matter. And then we've got Sarah Tempty going over messaging and offers, and then Avery Ford, his 9-point messaging sequence, which is mind-blowing. It's his own IP. And the first time I saw it, my mind was blown, because it's just 9 pieces of messaging that you need for your ideal client, that is used across webinars, that's used across content that you create for your personal profile, YouTube videos. It's just the psychological process that moves somebody from a stranger to a buyer, a raving fan of your business. And it's just 9 steps. He's going over that. And I'm so passionate about it, because these are the things that have created so much freedom in my life and so much happiness and joy. And that's what I ultimately want to bring to people at the event, to show them that it's actually possible to grow a 7-figure business. And it's actually easier than you think. You just need these frameworks. You need these processes in place to do it. And you can be just starting out. You can be at 6 figures. You can be at $500,000. And through these frameworks and processes, you will be able to get to $1 million.
That's so fantastic. I want to say, so 2 last things. The first, ladies and gents, if you have questions and answers, now's the time. Drop them in the chat. In the last 15 minutes, we're going to spend some time answering Q&A. The second is that I think, Andrew, you've got a link for Tribe of Buyers in case somebody wants to take a next step and head on to your event in San Diego. Is that correct?
Yes. And I've got a super special offer for everybody on this live. Am I allowed to say it on this live, or just?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I trust your stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Everybody on this live for the next 24 hours, I want to get as many awesome people there in that room as possible. It will sell out. So for the next 24 hours, because it's Jeff's crew and I love everybody's in Jeff's crew, I'm taking 66% off if you are a fast mover and you purchase within the next 24 hours. I will send you over a discount code. Just hashtag TOB down below, and I'll send you over that discount code. If you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me and let me know, because this event is going to be like no other event ever put on. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, we've produced huge results at our masterminds, and we're just doing that in a bigger environment. And the energy and the network is just going to be amazing. So I want you guys there. I got a discount code for you. TOB down below if you want me to send that over to you or answer any of your questions for the next 24 hours.
And in the meantime, are you okay with doing like one-on-ones and like a 15-minute strategy call and stuff like that?
I'm ramping up for this event. So
everybody, yeah.
So I have Grant Elitson that could do the 15-minute calls. I'm more than happy to answer any questions in Facebook Messenger, any whatsoever.
Okay, so
cool.
Let's do that then. So guys, if you want to have a direct connection with Andrew and like ask him any personal one-on-one questions that you may not be comfortable asking in like a group or something like that, like specific to you or how we can help you or things like that, or how his programs work, just hashtag Andrew my face. I'll do a personal introduction between you and Andrew. He doesn't have enough time to do a call, but he'll answer your questions on Messenger and make sure you're taken care of. So hashtag TOB if you'd like a link to actually go to his in-person event, and hashtag Andrew my face.
6% off.
And get the 66% off. Yep.
Out of 1,000, it's $297. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. It's been super cool, by the way. Like you as a person, seeing you grow and like your ups and downs and the challenges and like and making progress and stuff like that. Because I remember like we were on the board and you're like, Jeff, you need to have a course. You need to have a coaching program. And I was like, I don't believe anything you're saying. There's no way. And I was like you beat me to hell for like 45 minutes. You're like, I'm just going to yell at you until he was like, fine. And I wrote down like 50 headlines, and that was my course. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done that. And if it wasn't for that course, there wouldn't be 403 people. And on average, you're making an extra $20,000 a month. Like, isn't that insane? Like, we had somebody break $150,000 a month. Like, that's nuts, right? And it's all because of the whiteboarding session, and you yelled at me. So if you guys want that opportunity, just hashtag Andrew my face, and then
sometimes you just need somebody to put their yelling pants on and yell at you.
That's it.
And have somebody stand for you and like just do this, right?
Absolutely fantastic. I think that's it. Like, we've got like 20, 30 people that TOB'd and injured my face. So like, I think that's cool. For context, I'll be presenting on the Facebook engine. So it's the thing you're supposed to do every single day in a group to drive engagement, real, honest, dollar-driven relationships with real-life human beings. You're not like playing the algorithm. You're not like doing anything funky. You're not asking people, do you like blue or red? No, this is like a real, I'm not a jester. This is like a real conversation. And what's interesting is when I do custom research in my group, everybody knows I can provide a solution for them in exchange for money. And because of it, like my masterclasses sell out every time. And I'm going to be showing you behind the scenes on how to do that so you can better serve your own following and your own tribe, which is cool. Any last questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or ideas, Andrew?
No. Should we answer some questions that are down there? Is that what we're doing? Or
so let's see. Bobby says, what were the 5 whys that we need to ask? Is it just why 5 times?
That's a question. Like, it's called the 5 whys exercise. There aren't like different whys to ask. It's just start with what you do. Okay, why do I do that? It's to get X result. Why do I do that? It's to get X result. Why do I do that? It's to get X result. Why do I do that? To save the world, take one step back. And that is typically your purpose for your business. And
I'll bet you, by the way, like Elon Musk went through the same exercise. He's like, I'm going to do this so I can do that. And like, we're going to build electric cars so we can save the world. Electric cars, right?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. When you're looking for a mentor, is there a framework or a guidance that you should be going through, or is it really just you jive with that person culturally? They're actually doing it. I think a big thing that people miss is your mentor should have the life that you want, not the business that you want, the life, because we only have one life. And if your mentor has a lot of money but doesn't have a good life, it's not fucking worth it. Yeah.
So that's another big thing, and it just needs to be a heart fuck yes. Especially if you're paying a lot of money, like it needs to be like, I viscerally feel this, like this is right.
Interesting. Is there a time to know when you've made a mentoring mistake, or you really only know that after, or is it like as soon as you take the first step, you're like, oh, this was a problem? Because like the reason why I ask is like with the mentorship that I've gone through, I didn't know it was bad until 30 days in when he didn't answer the 4th call in a row, right? So like
that's
signal.
The biggest thing with a mentor is communication. If they don't communicate, that's the biggest red flag. But there's also people that come into programs that don't communicate with their mentor when they actually have problems and issues, and they bottle up this like just anger towards them. And that's a huge fault of your own. Like, you need to communicate with your mentor, your coach, and saying, hey, I'm having these problems. How do we overcome it? Now, if your mentor doesn't answer you or gives you a really short answer, fuck them, right? Yeah. But if they're being communicative and they're like, okay, here's a Loom video on exactly what you need to do to fix X problem, they're a good mentor. They may just need to fix a few things on the back end. But yeah.
And that's where like jiving and they're living your ideal life, and like you enjoy working with somebody, because if you can get 95% of the way, you don't care about like, oh, there's a module missing. It's like, I'll just call them, and that's what matters, right?
Yeah, and they're communicating back with you, and they really have your back and care about you.
Fantastic. I think that's it for now. Oh, sorry, we got one more question, which is, what would be like a good hint or tip about drumming up engagement for a new group? I'm going to give my answer, and then like you can chime in after that.
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want to make sure that you're not drumming up engagement just for engagement's sake, because that is a false positive by Facebook. Like, when you get a like, that's cool, but what you really need is to have a discussion and really move that conversation to where, like, I understand your problem. Here's the process. I can get you that end result of that promise. And so what I do in my group is I run custom research a lot, and you can go inside of the butt group, as weird as that sounds, and you can see how I'm asking you, like, what's the number 1 problem? What's the number 3 honest like question? What challenges are you having? Because when I have that, I can have a real life conversation versus saying, hey guys, like this post, and maybe Facebook engagement will happen. And so I want to make sure, and I can't see who asked that, but I want to make sure what you're doing is you're having real life conversations with people. And if you do that, your engagement numbers will naturally move through the group very, very quickly.
Yeah. I would say that you're engaging with people in the comments. Like, don't let a comment go unanswered, especially when you're first starting out. Don't let a comment go unanswered. But you're kind of looking at it. The best way to drum up engagement is by doing interviews that actually produce a result for your audience. And the way that Jeff does it is Jeff's just a fucking curious dude, and he's asking the questions that he's selfish. He wants to know like these questions so he can implement for himself.
How did you do it so I can do it too?
Yeah. Just be curious.
Yeah.
And the audience feels the same way. They want to know the same questions that you have in your head. Don't overthink it. Don't have a script. Like, just be genuinely curious on these interviews and pull out the step-by-step process from the people on the others, or from your interviewee. Just pull out their step-by-step process and be genuinely curious.
Fantastic. We got one last question, then we're going to bring it to an end. Joshua Alger says, how long should you wait to send out that automated survey for your client?
It should be in your email sequence right off the bat. So either day 1, day 3, somewhere in your email sequence in the first week.
Gotcha. So like right when they are on the edge where they remember their fears about buying, why they did it, like waiting a week or 2 weeks is probably too long, right? It's like 1 to 3 days in. Is that correct? Yeah. And it's for your client. Like, you actually want to know like what their pain points are, where they ultimately want to go, so you can create the roadmap for them, right? So it's for your clients and to better know your clients so you can better serve them. Fantastic. We're going to bring this to an end. Absolutely fantastic. But I want to say, for context, we've gone over how you started your agency, right? The journey that you went on, realize that no matter what, you're going to cap out somewhere. You realize that you need to find mentorship, you need to find a team, and more importantly, you need to have systems, processes, and programs. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, everything works. Everything just works, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't have that, if you don't have the mentorship, the guidance, the team, and the programs, you're always going to feel like you're burnt out and swing back and forth on a 5, 10, 15K a month type thing, right? Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to share one more golden nugget that's moved the needle the most for me in the past 6 months. Yep. So Asana, Slack, and weekly team calls. So we host team calls every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Mm-hmm. And we have Slack to improve communication between the team. And we have Asana to create our projects of what needs to be done, who it's assigned to, and the date that it needs to be done. Mm-hmm. You have those 3 things in place, you will be able to scale to the freaking moon. And it'll be easier to bring people on board. Yep. Yep. Very cool. I got to bring this to a close, and you've done a great job. Don't hang up. We're going to debrief or post brief or whatever it is. Yeah. Andrew Cruzy, Tribe of Buyers, #TOB or Andrew My Face. And then we'll see you guys in San Diego. I'm not